Hi everybody, we are here today to make the ultimate autumn beverage, and that is Gypsy Tea. If you love to sit down in the autumn by a fire and read a book and have a nice cup of tea, this is a good start because you can use a lot of things you may have around your house, like lemons or oranges or spices or herbs. So basically you do need an herb, a spice, and a fruit. You can use oranges, lemons. I have never used apple, but I can imagine that would be absolutely fantastic. So what we're going to do today is make a pot of Gypsy tea with lemon, ginger, and cinnamon. So keep that in mind, and I'll give you some alternative versions of this and tell you a little more about it. So let's start with the lemon. What I generally do is take the lemon and just slice it. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be seeded. You just slice it up either in a round, or you can do it in cubes or squares, whichever you want to do. I'm just going to make it quarters of a round. And what I do is take my kettle and I use the insert, and then I just drop these in just like that. No rhyme or reason to the shape. That's it. Now, I will save these for garnish. We'll use those as garnish. Why not use the rest of this lemon so we can make it nice and lemony? Now, if you use oranges, do the same. And like I mentioned, apples. What a wonderful treat that would be to have an apple tea with cinnamon and cloves. I think that would be so perfect from now through Christmas. Oh my. Well, I've talked myself into it now. I have to make that. That's my next pot. So all of our lemons, and this has been washed, is going into my insert. I'm going to save these as garnish. Now I'm going to add ginger. Now you can buy ginger by the hand, and this was a hand. Now it's down to like a finger, and because I've been using so much of it. And I'm taking this, and I'm just peeling some of the outer part of the ginger root and some of these little nodules that are on the ginger root. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. I just generally peel it. I don't peel it all the way because you'll be in the kitchen all night trying to do that. I get as much as I can so as much of the ginger flavor as possible comes out. And you know, ginger's a root, and the fibers run up and down the fingers of the hand that you buy. And what you usually do is cut it along that length of that finger to make it so you can dice it. And I make the cubes as small as possible so we can get all of that great ginger flavor out of it. And we're going to put it in our insert. Now, depending on how much ginger flavor you want, you could add as much ginger as you would like, as much lemon as you like. After you've made this for a while, then you will know exactly what you like. Some of us may like more cinnamon than others. I prefer the ginger flavor over the cinnamon because the cinnamon can be very powerful. Of course, ginger too. So there we have it. Now, this was never introduced to me by my grandmother, but my mother always talked about my grandmother making Gypsy tea. And I imagine the way this began with her is she owned some land, and she probably went for walks in the afternoon, and she knew she was a very earthy person, very bohemian, maybe now you would call her bohemian, and she would pick whatever herbs or berries she found, and then she'd come back and make tea with it. Well, I did some research, and that's almost exactly the way it has always been done. It's called Gypsy tea because the Romanis in Europe would make this tea, and they would serve it to their guests. However, they're not the only culture that made teas. Think about the Japanese tea houses where you would go and have a ceremony. And we were in Israel and went to shop one afternoon, and the gentleman who owned the shop served us tea. So it's worldwide. It's many cultures of tea drinking. I believe that tea was introduced to the world way before coffee was. So there are so many variations on tea, and this is one of my favorites. I'm a lover of tea, of any kinds of tea. And this is so healthy for us. We have the fruit juices, we have the health aspects of herbs and spices, and you are hydrating with the tea. So you can sit, enjoy an afternoon with a friend or with a book, and just relax. Now, while this is steeping, let me tell you what I'm wearing. This top is so comfy cozy. You can wear it off the shoulder, you can wear it up as a cowl neck, and it looks a bit like suede, but it feels like a sweatshirt. You're going to love it for this time of year and into the rest of autumn. And it's that gotta have it color, chocolate brown. And I'm wearing a kitten heel shoe. Probably shouldn't do this in the kitchen, but it is pointed toe, kitten heel with a buckle, and there's the heel. I bought these at Zara for almost nothing. So they're great with jeans. These are wide leg jeans by Mother, and that's it. Nothing much, but it's very cozy. We're letting this steep a minute more. Has anyone else had Gypsy tea? I know it is a thing because I looked it up, because I thought, did my mother just create this on her own and tell me this story about my ancestors making these wonderful teas? No, it's the truth. They are herbal teas. Many times they're called herbal teas or Russian tea or Gypsy tea, and she always referred to it as Gypsy tea. So that's what I've always called it. Now, have you had this? And if you have, is it made with the same ingredients, like I said, like a fruit and spices? Or did you use, let's say we put honey and mint? Oh my, that would be great. I have mint tea all of the time, but I've never put honey in my mint tea. So let me break off a couple pieces of this and give it a little rinse, and we'll add that to it. That would be great. I'll add that to it as I'm putting it in the cup, so it'll smell so delicious. But I'm just making some toast here. What I have is just a baguette and some apple cinnamon jelly, which is a wonderful little snack in the afternoon with your tea. I think maybe this kettle has steeped long enough. So let's pour our tea. And you can use regular dark tea, and but you make it mild. I would not make a very strong tea. If you do make a strong tea, add some honey to it with your spices and herbs, and the aroma in your house would be incredible. And we're going to drop that mint in there just to try. Ooh. I wish you could smell this. It smells like autumn in a cup or a hug in a cup. It smells so wonderful. Wow. This is good. Now, if you're not a lemon lover, then use any other fruit or just regular tea and infuse those herbs and spices into that tea. You're not going to regret it. What a great way to spend the afternoon on a cool autumn day. Now, I'm going to try honey as well, since I've added the mint. Oh my. Wouldn't this be perfect if you have a bit of a cold? Do you have any herbal home remedies that you use? Share them with us because we all need them. Oh my, the more I add to this, the better it gets. So that and some apple cinnamon jelly on toast. Couldn't get any better. What a way to spend the afternoon. Be sure to save this video to remind you of making this tea on the first really crisp day of the year. And some of you have already had those really crisp days, so go ahead and make it and enjoy it. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, tap the subscribe button. And don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram.